Well, hi there, and welcome to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And we want things to be easy peasy, right? It's the weekend. We don't have much time. We don't want to be feeling like things are going to be a chore.
No, we don't want it difficult. We want it easy peasy.
We do.
Yeah.
And
with a capital P.
Totally.
Right.
And because, it's very satisfying, don't you think, to complete a project like, for instance, your tomatoes. That was a project.
I got to tell you, they are now the height of a shrub.
That is
like a hedge. They're almost 5.5 feet tall. It's crazy. And you know why? You know what the secret is?
Well, you were saying the little
chicken manure.
Yeah, which
the guy gave me old world wisdom at the store. He said, "Put some chicken manure on it. You watch what happens."
Okay.
And at first I thought, "Yuck."
That's a great.
And then
project.
I saw what happened, and I'm going to do it for the rest of my life.
Well,
I might sleep in chicken. Wait till you see what I do with chicken manure.
Well, let's talk about some things you can do, maybe absent of the manure, but definitely something that's going to be as satisfying as those towering tomatoes. So something that we can do really quickly right now to make your indoors and outdoor just look great.
You want to fancy it up.
I want to make my headboard in my bedroom look a little prettier. So what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I think if you've got something that's either wood or a metal headboard that you've had for a while that hasn't quite served its purpose, doesn't have a design pop or flare, guess what you can do?
What?
You can either A, paint what you have, or B, you can make a headboard with different layers of plywood. So like basic cabinetry that you see in your kitchen, it's just plywood panels that have applied molding on them, essentially.
Some layers and textures.
And textures. And you can easily do that by just getting a sheet of plywood, cutting it a little bit, slightly exceeding the width of your bed, and then getting some trim pieces around the outside and the top and applied moldings. And then at the end of the day, you can either paint it and put like brie wax on to give it that sort of old, deadened, old world feel with the really rich, lush texture, or you could do more of a modern feel. But either way, a headboard can be upwards of $7,000. You can do one of these bad boys for, $100 tops, right?
Love it.
And it's easy to do, and you can either just lean it against the wall and push the bed up against it, or you could actually screw gun it into the drywall, and it's essentially just a couple of applied moldings and some plywood sheeting, and you can do it in all different configurations. Done. End of story. And that is a home improvement project you could do on a weekend.
Fun.
And feel proud.
And I love the idea of picking a color, too, that is maybe, a bright pop that you have always been dreaming of, and now let's say it's a really bright turquoise or something, maybe even red or black or just something different.
Right.
Be fun.
Absolutely. And again, it can be as simple as just a couple of legs, that are 4x4 posts with some plywood inserted in between and a couple of pieces of molding on the top and the bottom, and then like a lovely almost crown molding piece on top. And, there's great things online that you can see that give you directions if you can't think of something or imagine something on your own. Very, very easy to do. And you can't really mess it up too badly, especially if you're painting it. Because guess what? With paint, you can hide a myriad of sins. You could have holes that you accidentally drilled in, cuts that were wrong that you could fill in with Bondo or any kind of caulking, and the thing can look perfect at the end of the project.
And I think the idea of using the crown molding, too, because that gives you those layers, that kind of framing. It's going to frame your bed.
That's it.
Very cool.
And nothing sets off a bedroom like a beautiful headboard.
How about some bright throw pillows? The idea here is, this is not even a do-it-yourself project. This is just a buy-it-yourself project where you just think, there's a room that just needs a little freshening up, and go wild. Go for like some tropical colors. Think of like oranges and blues and greens or even magentas. Some really fun, vibrant, outdoorsy colors that are going to pick up your spirits.
By the way, the couch that we have outside of our house now that we use for our outdoor living area, the couch itself is kind of dingy and beat up, and we just put like a cover over the old upholstery, right?
Right.
And so it looks sort of neutral, and who cares? Like, I would never look at this thing and go, wow, what a nice couch. It looks like something you'd see in a college dorm room, right? However, having said that, guess what?
What?
Brand new throw pillows.
And it looks great.
And it looks suddenly like a designer showcase. It just is that simple.
And are they bright colors?
Bright colors, different patterns, different textures. You got the, sort of diamond-shaped graphics and the, things with applied flowers on them.
Cute.
Whatever
just
makes it look
match.
brand new and fancy. Inexpensive, easy to do.
One idea for throw pillows that I really love, I saw and I think I saw it on Pinterest, is just to use the colors of the rainbow. Go for all solid pillows, but almost like mimic a rainbow. So you'd have a blue, a green,
Oh, that's
a
pretty.
purple, a red,
Yeah.
a yellow, and orange. And so when you line that all up, especially if you had like a white couch or a solid color
Sure.
couch, it really looks neat. And then you could even repeat it twice.
Especially if you have a couple of drinks before you even sit down. Anything looks
It looks
better.
perfect.
Am I right?
Now, this hot trend that I've been seeing a lot in clothing
Yeah.
is this chevron pattern. Are you hearing about this thing?
Yes, I actually, well, you told me about it at the start of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I had not known that actual stripe was called the chevron stripe.
Right. And so basically
Not
it's
to be
like a
confused
Z.
with the branding of the
Right,
gas station,
right.
but yeah.
But basically, it's like a Z or a W that keeps repeating itself,
Yeah.
right? Very bold. It kind of gives you this kind of retro 70s feel, but it's very graphic, and it's a very graphic pattern, I should say, and it's really hot right now. So why not liven up your hardwood floors with a fresh coat of paint in this kind of contrasting, maybe a bright orange or bright red in that Z? So talk us through
Well,
painting on
anytime you want to do painting
Yeah.
with graphics,
Yeah,
blue masking tape is your friend, your best friend. And you can either do it on walls, you can do it on a floor, and you just tape off a pattern. You can first start out by sketching some parallel lines, that are going one direction and then veering back at an angle and going the next. And as long as you maintain, let's say it's a 12-inch wide stripe, as long as you maintain that 12-inch width all the way across the room, and then make the lines go further than you need them to, and then come back to use those as a reference, and maybe use a framing square to go back up in another direction to create that chevron pattern, which is basically, it almost looks like a zigzag that
Yeah.
you would see horizontally, right? And then it's as easy as painting that stripe off first, letting that dry. Say you want to do a red stripe, you would paint the interior of the masking tape area red, do a couple of coats, then let it dry, pull the masking tape off, put the masking tape back over the red after it's dry, and then go back and paint along those lines.
So it's
right?
really sharp line,
So
right?
they become very sharp and perfect. It's an easy thing to do.
Well, you can also paint an old window and turn that into a really clever kind of a beach-inspired memo board. And, we'll get to that in just a second here. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, we have some great ideas on how to really turn your weekend into something easy peasy. You're listening to Home Wizards. We love to improve your home and improve your life. Welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
And I'm Eric Stromer.
And we love to just kind of, perk things up around where you live, right?
Well, we like to gussy up things.
We do.
Yeah.
And so, when it is the weekend and you're looking at the four walls around you in the room where you are, you go, I'd like to do something to make it feel like, well, I'm at the beach. And
Sure.
why not get an old window that you could find? You may even have one sitting around the garage, right? It's no longer on your house, but it's in the garage, or maybe it's something that you saw at a garage sale. Picture turning this now window into like a beach-themed memo board where what you're going to do is get some color blocking, and it's as simple as just getting some card stock tape, behind, you tape the cardstock behind each pane of window. No painting involved. You're just going to tape the paper to the back.
Yeah.
So the glass is now covering this colorful, like turquoise and cobalt blue and
That's
citrus
great.
green and
That's a really
kind of
nice
a sandy
idea.
color, right?
Yeah.
And then you could even get some of that. They have, paint Sharpies that you can use.
Sure.
And then write on the glass itself, like memories of the beach, summer, whatever,
that's
rocks.
great.
And then put like little, you could even behind the glass get pictures of birds or fish or, whatever shells that you like, and then have like a little ledge right in front of the frame.
Love it. Now, and by the way, better still if you get a window that already has a window ledge attached to it,
Oh,
because then that can be a
yes.
shelf
Yes,
to
yes, yes, yes.
prop your little starfish on, or your little
Cute.
jars, or whatever, your jar of sand from your tropical
memories.
vacation, right?
Yes, very cute.
Although, don't forget the Gilligan's Island episode where the guy takes the thing off the island and then he's cursed forever.
Oh, that's right.
So
because
don't,
it's
don't,
like
it's like, the god Hulu or somebody. He curses you if you remove something from the island. So you may want to be careful.
don't do that.
No.
How about adding a splash of this ECAT print? It's kind of a real trendy thing. It's kind of like tie-dye, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the result of this kind of like procedure known as resist dyeing, and it creates this kind of cool tribal inspired print. And a lot of people again are wearing this, especially women's clothing and some guy shirts. You might see this now. It kind of looks tie-dye-ish, but it's, how would you describe it? It's not exactly. It's kind of a graphic print.
Yeah,
but
and
it's bleeding
It
around the
bleeds,
edge.
right. All the edges are not quite so graphic.
Like a diamond, like a picture of a diamond, like a blue diamond
Yes.
on a white fabric, but it's supposed to being sharp. It's
That's
kind of
it. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's
yeah,
pretty.
And that can be bulletin board material. If you can find some
Right.
of that fabric at the fabric store, you just get a piece of plywood and then put the batting in front of it, staple gun around the back, that fabric, fold it like a present, a birthday present, staple gun it off, hang it on the wall, put some push pins in it. Bam, instant, trendy.
Very cute.
ECAT print, beautiful.
It's
I saw some of this. I went to the store.
It's the ECAT's meow.
Meow. I went to that store, Bergdorf Goodman.
Oh, yeah. Fancy.
When I was in New York, I saw a lot of this fabric there. These clothes, like $5,000 for a men's shirt.
Did you see a shirt like this?
I saw this kind of material.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that design.
And I kept thinking, man, these guys are going to throw me out. I'm in a T-shirt. What the heck are they going to, I shouldn't be in this store. So I quickly left.
But you didn't buy the tribal.
I tried on a couple of things and just pretended like that scene from the Julia Roberts movie.
Pretty Woman.
And then they threw me out.
Yeah, well.
Can't afford that stuff.
But now you know, now not only is it fancy schmancy for men and women in clothing, it's a good thing to try.
And a good thing
for
to
your
do,
home.
go to the department stores to see the trending fabrics and then use that kind of stuff from the fabric store.
Then go to Joann's and
bam, done.
How about creating a little summer shimmer by painting a chair, basically, by not only having the basic color, but combining metals like silver or gold with icy lemon. This is a real trending thing.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say you have a chair that you got at the flea market or a thrift store. Remove the seat and then spray the chair with several coats of maybe platinum paint.
Oh, you are so fancy.
Isn't that neat?
The thing I love about spray paint, it'll stick to virtually anything. There doesn't have to be a ton of prep involved in it. Just kind of rough up the surface if it has a gloss on it and then spray it. Take the old cushion out, maybe put some of that ICAT fabric around a new cushion, put it back in, done, and then get some of that beautiful lemon ice fabric, that bright pop of color.
I mean, lemon yellow and silver.
Can you hear me? My breath's being taken away. I don't know what to even do anymore.
And then get like a gray throw rug, and so it's all about repeating that color pattern that you've come up with.
Sure.
Another really popular trending thing that we're seeing not only in clothing, right, but it is all about your home too, is to, again, summarize your place by making the mantle now, lighting up your fireplace in the summer by making it a focal point with, some neon artwork. This is something that's really popular now. It could be as simple as just like rainbow stripes, but they're bright, vibrant neon shades.
Yeah. And you know what's a cool idea, too, in a scenario like this where you're creating these little design vignettes?
Yes.
To think about summarizing who you are through imagery as a family or as a couple. Not so obvious, like not words like, this is me, this is him, but just sort of images that might remind you of each other and make that become the design sensibility that you work everything around. You know what I mean? So, for example, you love sheepdogs.
Right.
Maybe get like a cute little sheepdog in a ceramic version of it. Bill maybe is into photography. Get an old camera that you put on the man. So things that remind you of each other, that becomes sort of that vignette for design.
Neat.
Isn't that great?
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then it's subtle and subconscious. People walk in, they look at it, they don't quite understand why it's appealing. But man, that reminds me of you guys. And you're like, duh, I just did this because I listen to Home Wizards.
How about taking another cue from clothing and from hair? Have you noticed how a lot of women, and some guys too, are coloring their hair 3 shades of a similar color from the bottom up?
Sure, yes. The tips are one color.
Like tips might be
the
blonde,
middle,
brown, red, something like that. So you use that same strategy on a dresser.
Yeah, amazing idea. And by the way, I was in a restaurant and I saw that Cyndi Lauper. She kind of had that kind of hair.
Did she?
Where it's like a couple of different tones of red. Tips were one thing. The body is
well, you
another.
know why?
Why?
Girls just want to have
fun. Of course
fun.
they do. You know what I mean? It's like True Colors. Oh,
did you say?
Did
you go over there and say hi, Cyndi?
Well, I sang True Colors, and then the people threw me out of the restaurant.
No,
I
you didn't say hi.
I felt uncomfortable because I love what she does. I don't know if you ever heard her sing normally when she's not doing those
Beautiful.
songs.
Oh, I know.
She's like a blues singer.
I have.
I was a huge fan when I heard her do that. But I just kept secretly looking at her as I was buttering my bread. I'd kind of blend it in as I was buttering the bread. I'd look over at her.
Well, take a cue from Cyndi Lauper, and if you have a dresser, do make each drawer, especially if you had 3 drawers or 5 drawers, start at the bottom, make it a darker shade of blue, and then like the paint chips, right? And then it's turquoise, and then it's like a citrus green, and it kind of goes up.
And then
up,
even the body of the cabinet could be a 4th color. Yeah, and that could also be the same color of the handles. But that's really cool. It's gradated.
It
color.
is.
Yeah.
And you can get your idea by going to the paint chips
That's
section,
it. Good
right? You go,
idea.
oh, I'm going to go with the blue family, or I'm going to go with the gray, whatever shade or tone you want. And then speaking of color, this isn't something I've done yet, but I think it looks really cool, is turning one room into a pop of excitement by just making the actual molding or trim around a window a pop of color.
Yes.
Instead of having it,
Yeah,
be
the
very
traditional white
obvious.
trim and a color wall.
Coral.
Switch it up.
Red.
Yeah.
Black. How about a nice
Chinese red.
gorgeous.
Who knows what you're going to do?
But high gloss, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
High gloss,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives it a real interesting idea and feel when the light reflects from the paint. So I would recommend that you do it with the gloss.
Now here's another painting idea, but it's kind of fun for you gals. It is nail polish.
Well, what it's going to do is it's going to up your game, putting it on the toenail polish on your little toe, which is the challenge. A lot of women I see, they just put it on the skin because they can't hold the hand steady. But if you can do this project we're about to talk about, you'll be a pinky toenail painter.
So you have your mani-pedi, and then you turn that nail polish into a kind of an 80s throwback candle holder. And what it is you can get clear glass actual tumblers, or they could be candle holders. But the idea is you're going to put a white candle inside, right? But you're going to use the nail polish to make lines or circles around the glass in orange and magenta and green. So walk us through, how can we make those tight lines?
Sure. Again, you could use the painter's tape, which is the blue masking tape, and they sell it in varying widths. So you could actually kill two birds with one stone and buy 3 different widths and then just run that around the bottom of the glass using the very bottom edge as your centering place where you know that is going to be a horizontal stripe, and then just keep going up from there and putting a very thin one. They sell 1/4 inch width. Put a thin color there and then paint in between those lines using your toenail polish. Let it dry. Boom, you are now a professional. And you've not only have done that, but you've upped your game painting your own nails. B, you've done fashion when it comes to the decor in your own home.
See? And it's very trendy because you got that bright splash of color.
If
and
you
it looks
do
good.
maybe 10% of what we tell you, when people come into your home, you're going to be a fashion-forward, trending maven.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. That's all we ask.
Like, how about this one thing? Create a family message center. I mean, chalkboards are everywhere. If you don't even feel like doing the chalkboard paint thing, which is really easy to do.
Easy peasy.
But if you don't want to do that, you can just buy a chalkboard framed memo board already there and just put that on the wall and then use some chalk and put some little messages on there. It feels very
in my
summery
home,
and
those
cool.
messages are "Get milk!" exclamation point.
You're always running out.
You can paint anything.
All right, Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole, we love to make you feel good about the spaces you call home. You're listening to Home Wizards, and be sure to check us out on our website, yourhomewizards.com.